What's good, everybody? It's Jay Roebuck, and today we are going to be watching some footage from the latest episode of the Joe Budden podcast, and he had a special guest on today, TDE Punch. Now, there's a lot to break down here. We're going to watch some clips. We're going to look at some hypocrisy. We're going to look at some double standards, and we're going to talk about the media and if they can truly be honest, especially in front of guests. At this time, I'm going to ask that you like, comment, and subscribe, but I won't hold you any longer. Let's get right into the clips. Let's jump right into the mess and the mix. Joe is going to ask TDE Punch about the botting allegations. Let's see what he has to say.
What do you have to say about the bot allegations? You want to sit here like we don't ask tough questions? Then I got to ask you.
I ain't got nothing to say about it. We don't bot.
Do you purchase bots?
Absolutely not.
Have you ever?
I've never.
Have you heard of people in the industry purchasing bots?
Of course.
If you
First of all, this line of questioning sounds just like, an interrogation or a prosecution. And look at the answers he's given and how he's given them.
wanted to purchase bots, do you know where to get them from?
I do not.
Do you know how much bots cost?
I do not.
Do you know if someone is selling bundles of bots?
He does not,
I
nigga.
have no idea.
Nigga,
Do you see how,
this is not the Stephon Diggs.
Yes, the fuck it is. Nigga, you up. I gotta get to the bottom of things. Do you see how buying bots could be
Unfair.
beneficial?
Sure, absolutely.
Do you see a world where an artist that was focused on numbers would and a label? Let me not just say artist, right? And, get a label. Artist and label that are focused on numbers. Do you see how they could want to juice numbers up?
Bro, we've been seeing it.
So I'm going to pause there because there's something else I want to get to before he answers. So Joe asked him very clearly all of these questions about the bot stuff. I saw people going crazy on Twitter saying, see, they've never used bots. Listen here, anybody with a third grade reading and writing level who has the comprehension skills of a third grader should be able to deduce something. He could never say the answer is yes to any of those questions. Number one, because it's illegal. And number two, because what would a manager or an executive for a label look like going on to a show that is going to be seen by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people across all socials and say, yes, I bot. Or yes, we bot for our artists. Who with any kind of common sense would say this? So this is no vindication. This is no victory. This is him answering the question in the way he's supposed to. I'll get to what my answer is in a second, but I want to watch this clip from Joe Budden just maybe a year ago.
Not only do I not care that he used bots, but I knew he did.
Okay. Who?
What else is there to y'all didn't know that Kendrick used bots?
No, and I
You
didn't
thought
care.
that this was just the first time miraculously that a Drake record ever had more dislikes than likes, or you didn't know that was bots?
Now, wait a minute. Now, this is an interesting part about being a media member and an interviewer. How much do you push back when someone answers a question? Because again, remember I just told you, there's no way that Punch could say, yeah, we use bots as a strategy. He can't say that and admit it. So is that why Joe was so quiet? But I do wonder if there are some follow-up questions that you can ask to dive a bit deeper. Perhaps you could ask a question like, didn't you think it was odd that Drake had more dislikes than likes on a song? Didn't you think it was odd the amount of views and likes that some of Kendrick's songs had as soon as they went up? Just to kind of see where he would counter you at or where he would push back at. Or he might just say, nah, or I didn't pay attention to any of that. But I believe a good part of being a journalist, and I know Joe may not categorize himself as that, but he is the number 2 most powerful voice in hip hop media. Or maybe number 1, depending on how you feel. So I believe he just has the duty to just ask at least a follow-up question, because it is a little bit peculiar, because you sounded so confident and firm in that statement, but then there was no pushback during this interview at all. Now, I do want to listen to the rest of his response, because this is actually really great for anyone who is a business owner, an entrepreneur, a musician, a manager, anyone who's trying to build a business. What he's saying about botting or artificial numbers or artificial inflation is actually really important. So listen again.
Yeah.
But our whole thing was like, if we do that, how we gonna know who the actual fan is?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like we
facts.
do a show, don't nobody show up because it was fake.
But yeah.
So we like purposely chose not to do that. Back then.
But on the flip,
Now, that makes a lot of sense. As you're breaking an artist, you don't want to bot. And there's a few reasons why. Number one, if you bot, you don't know who your real fans are. It's also bad for the algorithm. So if you're botting a YouTube channel and your viewers are coming from India or Japan or somewhere else in Asia, that's where your videos are going to go. So eventually when you stop botting, it's never going to reach the fans you're trying to get to. If you're botting in the music industry and your listeners are coming from all over the place, it's hard for the algorithm to pick up who your true fans are. Then if you try to go on tour, you try to do a small show, you try to sell merch, you don't know what cities to go to or what areas to target and market to because none of the numbers you've ever used are real and your audience isn't real either. So what he's saying is 100% truth and something that all people should think about.
Flip side of that,
Y'all big enough to do it though.
on the flip side, if you big enough already to where we're gonna sell out stadiums whenever we go, then what would the bots matter? The extra numbers.
Now, this is a good follow-up question. Where was this follow-up when we were talking about, botting in the beginning?
Already to the moon. You're gonna sell out everything. Your music is however much platinum it is.
Yeah.
Where would they find the bots? It might be genius.
But then what would be the need in doing it? Period. I could give you an example. If I'm at
See, now they cut him off right before he was about to talk. That was bad. Iman, you got to just hold a second because he was just about to answer and then they started talking and it kind of allowed him to escape the answer.
need in doing it, period. If you go in a head-to-head fight with somebody for the number one for this week.
So yeah, in short, and Ice is right here. Why do you bot if you already are a large artist? Because you want to be number one. You want to get more listeners and it's selling. Numbers matter. Numbers will always matter. So if you remember, Young Thug on a phone call said he bought Gunna the number one spot. He said Gunna was down like 20,000 sales and he just botted the album to make sure that Gunna had the number one album that week. That's a very common practice. And for anyone in the industry who tells you it's not, they're lying. Another hot topic was Drake's lawsuit. They wanted to know what Punch's thoughts were about it. And I think he had a decent response. Let's listen.
Taking your bias out of it and your own interests out of it.
Yeah.
Could you kind of understand some of where Drake is coming from with the lawsuit after the battle?
No, not at all. Like, we from a cloth where you don't do that. Like, we battling. It's a battle. It's words.
I'm not really talking about his position with you guys is in it, but as far as him versus Universal, especially after that. Actually, what were your thoughts on that Dr. Dre and Lucy and High Five?
Now, a lot of people are going to stop watching at this point and say, see, Punch said we don't do that. You don't sue in hip hop over a battle. And Joe asked a perfect follow-up question. Remove yourself from it. And I'm not talking to you because you played a role in it and you were on the other side of the battle. Talk about the relationship and the issue that Drake is pressing with the label. And this is all I've been saying since the lawsuit was filed. I wouldn't have done it, but if you put yourself in the shoes of someone who had hundreds of millions of dollars at stake, what would you do? Now watch how his answer shifts. Again, you have to be able to think past like a 3rd or 5th grade level here. All the people running on Twitter who are posting narratives and didn't even watch the full clip or just can't comprehend the full clip. This next part of the video where I explain it is just for you.
You seen the High Five. Don't lie. Don't even look to the side, nigga. You know the High Five.
They seemed happy.
Oh shit! All right, see, we ain't gonna get them. See, this is
they seem happy, and I'm sure they were. And they were. No, they were. I'm talking about Drake's position against his label.
Yeah.
Do you still feel like you're not supposed to do that? We battling, or is it like business shit that?
No, I mean, if you feel like the people you're doing business with are doing something wrong or shady or behind the curtains, then yeah, you address it how you address it. I just think the pretense of what this was on.
what's that in emotion?
Now, great answer. Again, I think what he says makes logical sense. If you have a business issue, you handle it in a business way, which is not going the Pooh Shiesty route and grabbing the hammer and going with your mans and holding somebody up and saying sign a contract. You handle things like how businessmen handle it. Really lawsuits, or you go into the boardroom and negotiate. He's just upset at the pretense that it took, that caused it. But listen to the rest of the combo, because I think this is really smart right here from everybody.
Do you think, or could there be a place where this was already set in motion, or they already had some levels of contention pre-battle?
You talking about Universal?
Universal and Drake?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's always issues between artist and label. So I'm sure it was something brewing there.
Well, we know what was brewing. It was a contract negotiation. Drake was almost, completed the contract. He already recouped the money. He had one or two albums left, and he's renegotiating a deal. So we know what the contention was. They likely couldn't find a middle ground on the dollar amount. And then as soon as that happens, Drake gets off tour and says he's taking a break. And then next thing you know, they're engaged in the biggest rap battle that we've ever seen. We know there was contention. We know the context.
I don't know to the extent of what, because I'm not in that personal thing.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
But even still, like, I can't take it past what we was doing. Like, it's the battle.
Right.
I mean, I get the business and all of that, but why you didn't do that on something else? I mean, if it was other things going on, like
There's nothing
else affected me this way.
No, not just that. It's nothing. Dog, They Not Like Us might be the biggest song in the last 5-10 years.
That is true. So essentially, they kind of go back and forth on this point. So Punch is just saying, I'm just mad that it happened after the battle. And if I was a part of TDE or PG Lang or in that camp, I would agree with their feelings. I'm not involved in any of it. So I see from the business aspect why he did it. And I think it's just the culmination of all those things happening. It's like the Big Bang. This is happening here. This is happening here. The industry is here. My album is here. I just got off tour. And all those things collided. And it was the perfect storm for a battle, for a business clash. And that's how this thing came about. But as Punch said, yeah, he understands. So everybody else out there who's crying, shut up. Another hot topic was the idea of bias and were they being fair and calling the whole thing even. Now, shout out to Ish right here, because Ish goes around the rooms and calls them out one by one. Let's listen.
Checking that bullshit.
All right, peace. It's just
What was the bias? What's bullshit?
What was the bias?
Yeah, what was the bias?
You joking or you serious?
I'm serious.
You good? You trying to flip me up?
I'm
good.
not. I'm asking a question.
He said,
Oh, you specifically?
At the room.
He said,
I could go around the room.
He said, us
Yeah, do that. Do that. Go around.
You said, yo, I don't want to hear no gimmicks. I want to hear raps.
Yes.
When the nigga started rapping, you said, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear They Not Like Us. I want to hear
That's not
Boppity.
what I said at all.
You did say that.
I didn't say that. I liked Family Matters. I liked push-ups. I liked the fucking Boy Wonder Dre. I liked all that shit. I didn't like.
Did we express that up here?
Yes.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
We could. It's
I know the room.
You. This is what I'm gonna say. As far as the room goes, niggas wanted that nigga to fail. Y'all can say whatever y'all want to say.
I don't.
That was just me.
No. At some point, you swayed everybody.
Oh, whoa.
And niggas up here wanted him to fail.
Well, I would like for you to continue.
That's the truth.
Why would I want Drake?
I was.
All right, now watch this. 100% Joe swayed everyone in the room. The one episode that Joe was not there and it was the whole rest of the cast and they were playing Which One by Drake. They were dancing. They said, this is a banger. This is going to ring off. We like this track. Joe came back the next week and said, yo, why y'all reacting to the song like that? That song is trash. And everybody was mute. No one talked back. Parks, let's talk about you here. Someone made a tweet and they were like, oh, Drake is going to steal Parks' girl. And then Parks tweets, she's of age, taking us a jab at Drake and again, alluding to a nasty rumor that we all know is not true, perpetuating a rumor that started on that podcast that is heinous and that is foul. So why would you want Drake to lose? Or why did you have bias? Because clearly you feel away. And you wanted to take an underhanded shot at him. Now, I rock with Parks. I think Parks gives good insight. But don't act blind and oblivious when we literally can go back and watch it and then we can read the tweets. Stop it. Now, there's a lot to gain from this interview because there's a lot of helpful information and a peek behind the veil of what's been going on behind the scenes. So shout out to them for getting Punch up there to speak. And I want to end on a really positive note because I think there is something of value to look at how PG Lang and TDE handle their business. Let's watch this clip where they talk about kind of the split where Kendrick walks away and forms his own company.
Y'all, it was a lot of talk when Kendrick was exiting.
Yeah.
And we were thinking we was going to see fucking fireworks. We thought that, all the rumors that was going around, everything that Drake was saying, it was, and y'all niggas did that as seamlessly and peacefully and quietly, and then y'all was still there and still supporting and still dropping the links and in the video and at the show and everywhere, and then all of us was fucked up. So how were y'all able to do that so smooth?
I mean,
We don't see it done smooth.
It goes back to what you were saying earlier about, being principled. I mean, we all cut from a similar cloth and we understand. Like Kendrick fulfilled all his contractual obligations. And he wanted to expand what he was doing. So, yeah, let's do it. That's why we doing it.
And still wanted y'all to even be a part of his.
So I think this is really beautiful. As Kendrick goes away from TDE, there was no ugly rumor that came out that was confirmed. There was nothing that was messy. There was nothing that was drama. And even as he moves into PG Lang, he's still working with TDE artists. He's still locked in with the same people who he came up with. That is very admirable. I admire that. Because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to build it from the ground up. And even when business isn't the same as it once was, you still look at those people as family. I like stuff like that. Beautiful.
Expansion.
Right. That's the family aspect of it. You know what I mean? The first thing he does when he drops his new project, we get SZA on the single. They do Super Bowl. Then they do a stadium tour together. Like that was a TDE, PG Lang production together.
Everyone's asleep.
Yeah, absolutely. But like what the problem is, people not used to seeing us as black people move that way.
Solid.
You know what I mean? They're used to some sort of contention, problems, but that's just not the case.
And even in the
I like that. And that's how I want to end this video, talking about the power of being united. And especially black people in an industry that is not kind to black people and has taken advantage of them. When you have a label that is black owned, that goes to bat and puts out stars, that sticks together even when the business isn't the same anymore. That is what I like. But I want to know what your thoughts are on the whole interview, the bias. Does does Joe Budden have more of an obligation to push people in these interviews? And does he have an obligation to admit his bias flat out? Because I think he has at certain points, but in this interview, he didn't really clearly do it. But I think it was a good interview nonetheless. So make sure you watch it. I think some of it may be on Patreon, but there are a few things that I wanted to bring to light. And just to get your thoughts on it, there's a lot more to come. I'm actually probably going to drop another video early in the day tomorrow. I'm in the lab working. We have a big week at hand. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the hype button to get this video pushed out into the algorithm, and let's continue to build. We are 10K strong. Next stop up, I'm pushing to 100, but let's take a smaller step. Let's get to 50K in the next couple months. I think we could do it. I appreciate everyone who's been here rocking with me since day one. Until next time, I go by the name J Roebuck. Salute.